You have walked through valleys of shadow, faced trials that tested the very core of your being, and yet, here you stand, transformed, wiser, and more attuned to the deeper truths of existence. The journey through darkness was never meant to break you. It was meant to awaken you, to strip away illusions, and to reveal the profound strength and wisdom hidden within your soul. Today, we will explore 7 sacred signs, undeniable proof that you have not only survived but have emerged with a consciousness few ever attain. These are not the common signals often discussed, such as heightened intuition or a vague sense of inner peace. Instead, they are rare, mystical imprints, subtle yet powerful whispers from the universe that confirm your spiritual evolution. Each sign is a marker of your transformation, a reflection of the resilience you have cultivated, and a testament to the light you now embody. As you listen, I invite you to open your heart and allow these signs to resonate within you. Let them affirm your journey, validate your struggles, and offer guidance for the road ahead. This is your moment to breathe deeply, to settle into a space of stillness, and to receive the sacred truth of your evolution. If you feel connected to this message, take a moment to comment "I am awakening" below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel so that we can continue exploring the deeper mysteries of consciousness together. Now, let us begin. The 7 Sacred Signs. 1. The resonance of sacred silence. After emerging from the darkness, silence is no longer something you fear, nor is it an empty void that weighs heavy on your soul. Instead, it becomes something vibrantly alive, filled with meaning, wisdom, and an undeniable presence. It is no longer an absence of sound but a space where truth is revealed, where clarity emerges, and where your spirit finds communion with something far greater than yourself. In this silence, you no longer feel the restless need to fill the void with distractions, thoughts, or external noise. Instead, you embrace it as a sacred presence, as if the universe itself is speaking to you, not with words, but with an unspoken language that resonates deep within your being. There is a shift that happens when you have truly walked through the valley of shadows and come out on the other side. The noise of the world, the constant chatter of the mind, and the fear of being alone with your thoughts begin to dissolve. You start to realize that silence is not empty, it is full. Full of insights, full of knowing, full of peace. In moments of solitude, meditation, or deep reflection, you may notice that this silence carries a pulse, a subtle rhythm that mirrors your own inner self. It is as if the silence itself is breathing, alive with energy and wisdom, guiding you toward deeper understanding. This resonance is similar to what one might experience when standing inside an ancient temple, where every whisper, every echo carries weight, history, and significance. The silence that once felt heavy now feels sacred, like a presence surrounding you, wrapping around you like a protective embrace. It speaks to you in a language beyond words, reminding you of everything you have endured, everything you have learned, and everything you are still becoming. You may notice that this silence holds a different kind of depth. It is not just the absence of sound but a bridge between the seen and the unseen. It is a space where the divine whispers to your soul, where you can hear God, the universe, or your highest self more clearly than ever before. The words of Psalm 46 verse 10, "Be still, and know that I am God," begin to take on a new, deeper meaning. You understand now that stillness is not about doing nothing, it is about being fully present, fully open, fully aware. It is in this stillness that you find the guidance you once sought in external places, realizing that all the answers you need have always been within you. This newfound relationship with silence is a clear sign that you have transcended the restless mind and stepped into a higher state of consciousness. It is evidence that you no longer seek validation, noise, or external distractions to feel whole. Instead, you have attuned yourself to the divine frequency, where true wisdom flows effortlessly, not through sound, but through stillness. Every moment spent in this sacred silence is a confirmation of your transformation, a sign that you have not only survived the dark night of the soul but have emerged stronger, wiser, and more in tune with the eternal truth that lies within you. 2. The nonlinear perception of time. There was a time when you saw life as a series of sequential events, each moment following the next in a predictable rhythm. Day by day, year by year. But after emerging from the darkness, you begin to realize that time is not as rigid as it once seemed. It no longer moves in a straight line but stretches and contracts unpredictably. The way you perceive time has fundamentally shifted, no longer bound by the ticking of a clock but by something far more fluid and mysterious. You may notice that profound moments, those filled with deep realization, spiritual insight, or emotional intensity, seem to stretch indefinitely. Time slows to a near standstill, allowing you to absorb every detail, every sensation, as if the universe itself is holding its breath so you can fully grasp the magnitude of what is happening. A simple sunrise, a conversation that stirs your soul, a sudden moment of clarity, these experiences linger, expanding beyond their measured seconds, minutes, or hours. In these moments, time feels infinite, as if eternity itself has opened a window for you to peer through. At the same time, mundane or painful experiences seem to pass more quickly than before. The struggles that once felt endless now dissolve faster, almost as if they were never meant to be permanent in the first place. A difficult season that should have lasted months feels like it barely left an imprint on your soul, while moments of joy and revelation seem to hold you captive, stretching across time in a way that defies logic. It is as if your consciousness has been freed from the rigid framework of linear time and now moves according to a deeper rhythm, one that is in harmony with the greater design of the universe. This is when you begin to experience time as something interconnected rather than fragmented. Past, present, and future start to blend together in ways that once seemed impossible. Memories no longer feel distant, they come alive, vibrant and immediate, as if you are reliving them rather than recalling them. Sometimes, you may find yourself thinking about an event from years ago, only to realize that it is teaching you something in the present moment, as though it were never truly over. At other times, glimpses of the future appear, not as random predictions, but as an intuitive knowing, a sense that you have already experienced something yet to come. You realize that time is not a linear road but a vast ocean, where every moment ripples into the next, touching both what has been and what is yet to be. This experience is not a hallucination or confusion, it is a deeper revelation about the nature of reality. It is proof that your consciousness is evolving beyond human limitations and stepping into a higher understanding. Revelation 1 verse 8 declares, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, says the Lord God. I am the one who is, who always was, and who is still to come, the Almighty." These words take on new meaning as you begin to grasp that God, the divine presence that governs all things, exists outside of time. If you are aligning more closely with divine wisdom, then it makes sense that your perception of time would begin to mirror eternity rather than human constraints. At first, this shifting perception can feel disorienting. You may struggle to keep up with schedules, deadlines, and the structured way society measures time. Others may not understand when you say that time feels different to you, that some days seem to vanish while others feel like entire lifetimes. But over time, you learn to trust this new rhythm. You realize that the way time flows for you now is more in tune with the deeper truths of existence. Instead of forcing yourself to conform to the old, rigid structure, you begin to embrace the fluidity. This is not a loss of control but a liberation. You are no longer shackled by the idea that time is running out or that you must race against it. Instead, you understand that every moment arrives precisely when it is meant to. You no longer feel the urgency to rush, nor the anxiety that you are falling behind. You begin to trust in divine timing, recognizing that what is meant for you will unfold at exactly the right moment, not a second too soon or too late. The nonlinear perception of time is a sacred gift, a sign that you have stepped beyond the limitations of the material world and into a higher state of being. Every time you feel time slow down or speed up, every time you experience the blending of past, present, and future, take it as confirmation that you are no longer bound by the illusion of time as a straight line. Instead, you are beginning to see through the eyes of eternity, embracing the mystery and beauty of existence as it was always meant to be. 3. Quantum leaps in energy and consciousness. Spiritual transformation is often portrayed as a slow and steady journey, a gradual unfolding of wisdom, an incremental rise in awareness, a path walked step by step. But for those who have endured the depths of suffering, for those who have faced the dark night of the soul and emerged with a newfound sense of clarity, growth does not always come in predictable, linear patterns. Instead, it arrives in sudden, powerful bursts, quantum leaps of consciousness that propel you into new dimensions of understanding in an instant. These moments are not mere realizations, they are shifts in the very fabric of your being, moments when the boundaries of who you once were dissolve, and something greater, something truer, emerges in their place. You may have experienced this firsthand, the feeling of being stuck, weighed down by confusion, grief, or stagnation, only to suddenly, almost miraculously, break free. One moment, you are drowning in uncertainty, and the next, a door opens within you, revealing a truth so clear, so profound, that you wonder how you could have ever missed it. This is the nature of quantum leaps in consciousness. They are not small steps forward but radical shifts, as if a veil has been torn away, allowing you to see reality from an entirely new perspective. These leaps can occur in many different ways. Sometimes, they come through suffering, in the moments when you have been stripped of everything, your illusions, your sense of control, your old identity. When all that once anchored you has crumbled, there is a brief, terrifying moment where you stand on the edge of the unknown, feeling as though you are nothing. And then, something happens. A realization dawns upon you, not as a thought but as an unshakable knowing, you were never truly lost. You were always becoming. The pain that once defined you no longer holds power over you, and in its place, you find an inner strength, a resilience that was hidden beneath the surface all along. Other times, these quantum leaps come through creative breakthroughs. You may find yourself painting, writing, playing music, or expressing yourself in some way, only to suddenly feel as if you are not the one creating, something is flowing through you, something divine. Ideas and insights appear out of nowhere, as if gifted to you from beyond. Your hands move as if guided by an unseen force, and the work you produce feels as though it came from a source far greater than yourself. In these moments, you understand what it means to be a vessel, a channel for something sacred. You realize that creativity is not just an act of expression, it is an act of connection, a bridge between the finite and the infinite. And then there are those moments of divine encounters, where, in the stillness of your soul, the presence of God, the universe, or your higher self becomes undeniably real. It may happen in prayer, in meditation, in the beauty of nature, or even in the midst of an ordinary day when, suddenly, everything aligns. The world appears sharper, more vibrant, and you feel an overwhelming sense of unity, as if every atom in existence is humming in harmony. In that moment, doubt vanishes. Fear disappears. You understand, beyond words, that you are seen, known, and deeply loved. Each time you experience a quantum leap, it feels like a rebirth. The old version of you, the one clinging to fear, doubt, and limitation, falls away, and in its place, a new version emerges, freer, lighter, and more attuned to truth. This is the divine renewal spoken of in 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away, behold, the new has come. These words are not just metaphorical, they are the lived experience of transformation. You can feel it happening within you. The things that once troubled you no longer have the same hold. The fears that once controlled you lose their grip. You begin to see yourself, and the world, through different eyes. These leaps are not just about knowledge, they are about embodiment. It is not enough to simply understand something intellectually, you become the wisdom you have received. Your energy shifts, your actions change, and the way you move through the world is no longer the same. You feel lighter, as if some invisible weight has been lifted from your shoulders. There is a clarity in your mind, a peace in your heart, and a sense of trust in the unfolding of life. What once seemed chaotic now appears ordered. What once seemed meaningless now carries profound significance. This is the alchemy of the soul, the sacred process of turning pain into power, suffering into wisdom, darkness into light. Just as fire transforms raw metal into gold, your experiences, no matter how painful, have refined you, shaped you, and made you into something more resilient, more radiant, more attuned to the divine. Each quantum leap you experience is a confirmation that you are evolving, expanding, and ascending beyond the limitations of your past self. It is important to remember that these quantum shifts often come after great turmoil. The dark night of the soul is not just about suffering, it is a transcend who you were before. So, when these moments of sudden awakening occur, do not resist them. Do not question whether you are ready. The universe does not operate on schedules, it moves in divine timing, and when you are meant to step into a new state of being, the shift will happen whether you expect it or not. Embrace these moments. Let them reshape you. Trust that they are leading you somewhere sacred. Quantum leaps in consciousness are not coincidences, they are sacred milestones in your journey. They are the universe's way of showing you that you are not just learning, you are transforming. You are not just growing, you are ascending. And you are not just surviving, you are stepping into a higher version of yourself, one that is aligned with the deepest truths of existence. Every time you experience one of these shifts, let it be a reminder, the old has passed away. The new has come. You are no longer who you were before. You are something far greater. You are something eternal. 4. The alchemy of suffering into creativity. There comes a point in your spiritual journey where suffering is no longer just something you endure, it becomes something you transform. Pain, once a burden, becomes a raw material, a substance waiting to be reshaped into something meaningful. You no longer see your wounds as mere scars, instead, they become stories, symbols of resilience, and gateways to a deeper understanding of life. This is the alchemy of suffering into creativity, the sacred process through which sorrow, loss, and struggle are transmuted into art, expression, and wisdom. You may have noticed that after your darkest moments, a new energy stirs within you, an unexplainable urge to create, to externalize what has been held inside for so long. Perhaps you feel drawn to writing, painting, composing music, sculpting, or any form of artistic expression. It is as if the emotions, thoughts, and experiences that once threatened to consume you now demand to be given form, to be transformed into something tangible. This is not just catharsis, it is creation with purpose. Your suffering is no longer just an experience, it becomes a wellspring of beauty, insight, and understanding. The emotions that once seemed unbearable are now the ink that fills the pages of your writing, the colors that shape your paintings, the melodies that flow through your music. What was once darkness now becomes a source of illumination, not just for yourself, but for others who encounter your work. This is the essence of artistic transcendence, taking pain and refining it into something that uplifts, inspires, and heals. Many of the greatest works of art, literature, music, and philosophy in human history were born from suffering. The poets who bled onto the page, the painters who captured sorrow in the stroke of a brush, the musicians who poured their heartbreak into symphonies, all of them engaged in this same sacred process. Their pain was not wasted, it was repurposed into something timeless. And now, you find yourself walking the same path. Your suffering, once seemingly meaningless, begins to take on new depth and value. It was never just about the pain, it was about what you would create because of it. This transformation is beautifully reflected in Isaiah 61 verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. What was once ashes has become a crown. What was once mourning has been turned into joy. What was once despair has been transmuted into praise. This is divine alchemy at work, the process through which suffering is not just survived but sanctified, turned into something of immense worth. Perhaps you find yourself telling stories through your writing, crafting narratives that weave together pain and redemption, darkness and light. Or maybe you paint images that seem to hold emotions too complex for words, colors and textures that embody what your heart has endured. You may find yourself composing music that carries the echoes of your past struggles, melodies that allow others to feel what you have felt, to understand what cannot be spoken. Whatever the form, your creativity is no longer just an outlet, it is a testimony. Through this process, you begin to realize that suffering was never meant to break you. It was meant to shape you, to carve into you a depth that would allow you to channel something far greater than yourself. Your art, your creations, your expressions, these are not just remnants of pain, they are proof of transformation. They stand as evidence that your suffering was never in vain, that even in the darkest moments, something sacred was being cultivated within you. The act of creating from suffering is also a way of reclaiming your power. No longer are you merely a victim of what has happened to you. Instead, you own your story. You shape it, mold it, and present it to the world not as a tale of defeat, but as a declaration of resilience. Your art becomes a bridge, connecting you to others who have walked similar paths, offering them solace, inspiration, and the reminder that they too can transform their pain into something meaningful. This is not just about personal healing, it is about offering light to others. What you create may touch someone in ways you never imagined. A poem you write could bring someone comfort in their darkest hour. A song you compose could give someone the courage to keep going. A painting you share could express what another person has struggled to put into words. In this way, your suffering becomes a gift, one that ripples outwards, affecting lives in ways you may never fully comprehend. And so, as you continue to create, remember this: you are a divine alchemist. You have taken what was meant to destroy you and turned it into something beautiful. Every brushstroke, every note, every word is proof that darkness does not have the final say. The mere act of creation is a defiance of despair, a testament to the eternal truth that light will always emerge from shadow. Each time you sit down to create, you reaffirm your strength. You remind yourself, and the world, that pain is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of something new, something powerful, something worthy of being shared. In turning suffering into art, you are not just expressing yourself, you are leaving behind a legacy of transformation. So embrace this gift. Let your creativity flow. Let your pain become light. Because in the end, that is what true alchemy is all about, turning what was once heavy into something radiant, eternal, and divine. 5. Synchronicities as portal markers. At a certain point in your journey, you begin to notice something unusual, the presence of synchronicities, uncanny coincidences that feel too intentional to be random. You see repeating numbers on clocks, receipts, and license plates at precisely the moments when you are seeking clarity. You encounter the same symbol, phrase, or song over and over again, as if the universe is emphasizing a message meant specifically for you. You run into someone at the exact right time, have a conversation that seems divinely orchestrated, or receive unexpected guidance just when you need it most. At first, you may brush these occurrences off as chance. But as they continue, as the patterns become impossible to ignore, you begin to understand that these synchronicities are not random. They are signs, portal markers, guiding you along your divine path. They are evidence that you are aligned with something much greater than yourself, that you are walking in harmony with your purpose, even if you do not fully understand where the road is leading. Synchronicities act as a cosmic language, a way for the divine to communicate with you without words. The universe weaves meaning into the fabric of your daily life, sending you messages through symbols, numbers, and events that align with your inner transformation. The more aware you become, the more you notice these sacred winks, and the more you realize that nothing is truly accidental. Everything is unfolding according to a plan, one that is intricately designed to lead you toward your highest self. Imagine walking through a dense forest, unsure of the path ahead. Then, out of nowhere, you notice carved symbols on the trees, markings left by those who walked this path before you. These markings reassure you, guiding you forward with confidence. This is exactly what synchronicities do. They are breadcrumbs left by the universe, nudging you toward the next chapter of your journey. Each repeated number, each seemingly coincidental event, each perfectly timed meeting is a whisper from the divine saying, "You are on the right track. Keep going." The Bible confirms this truth in Proverbs 3 verse 6, "In all your ways acknowledge him, and He will direct your paths. These synchronicities are divine markers, directing you toward the path that has been prepared for you. They remind you that your steps are guided, even when you feel uncertain, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. But synchronicities are not just passive affirmations, they are invitations to pay attention and take action. They call you to be more present, more attuned to the flow of life, and more trusting in the divine plan that is unfolding before you. When you notice these signs, pause. Reflect. Ask yourself what they are pointing you toward. What decision are you being guided to make? What truth are you being asked to see? For many, seeing repeating numbers like 111, 222, or 444 is one of the first synchronicities they recognize. These numbers often appear in moments of transition, signaling that you are entering a new phase of growth. Others may repeatedly hear the same phrase from different sources, as if the universe is echoing a lesson that needs to be learned. Some experience symbolic encounters, meeting someone who shares words of wisdom at the exact moment you needed to hear them, finding a book that seems to answer your deepest question, or seeing an animal that holds personal significance to you. Synchronicities also reveal that time itself is not as rigid as we once believed. You may think of an old friend, only to receive a message from them moments later. You may dream of a symbol or a place, only to encounter it in waking life. These occurrences suggest that the boundaries between the past, present, and future are not as fixed as they seem. Instead, everything is interconnected, and the universe is constantly weaving together the threads of your destiny in ways that your rational mind cannot always comprehend. One of the most profound aspects of synchronicities is that they often occur during times of deep transition, right after you have experienced a major spiritual awakening, when you are about to make a life-changing decision, or when you are stepping into a new version of yourself. They serve as both a validation of the path you are walking and an encouragement to keep moving forward. They are the universe's way of confirming that you are not alone, that the unseen forces of creation are working in your favor, orchestrating moments that are designed to bring you closer to your purpose. As you continue to experience these divine markers, trust them. Do not dismiss them as coincidences. Instead, take them as reminders that your journey is divinely orchestrated. Keep a journal of the synchronicities you notice. Over time, you will see patterns emerge, messages become clearer, and a deeper understanding take root. You will realize that every sign, every repeating number, every chance encounter is part of a greater story being written through you. And so, the next time you see that repeating number, the next time a symbol follows you wherever you go, the next time you feel the hand of destiny nudging you in an unexpected direction, listen. It is the universe whispering to you, guiding you, reminding you that your path is blessed, your steps are guided, and your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. 6. Sacred geometry and the unveiling of universal patterns. As your spiritual awareness deepens, something remarkable begins to happen. You start noticing patterns everywhere. At first, it might be subtle. You find yourself drawn to the spiral of a seashell, mesmerized by the way it mirrors the galaxies above. You observe the delicate symmetry of a snowflake and feel as if it carries a hidden message. The shapes of flowers, the fractals in tree branches, the proportions in classical architecture, all of them seem to whisper of a deeper intelligence, a grand design woven into the very fabric of existence. These are not random occurrences. This is sacred geometry revealing itself to you, a sign that your consciousness is expanding beyond ordinary perception and into the hidden order of the universe. You are beginning to see beyond the surface, recognizing that life itself is constructed according to precise mathematical principles. These patterns are the fingerprints of creation, encoded into everything from the microscopic to the cosmic. For thousands of years, mystics, philosophers, and scientists alike have understood that geometry is the language of the divine. From the pyramids of Egypt to the intricate mandalas of Eastern traditions, from Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man to the Fibonacci sequence found in nature, the message has been the same: the universe is built on sacred proportions. You are now awakening to this reality, seeing for yourself that behind the seeming randomness of life, there is structure, balance, and meaning. As you observe these geometric patterns, you may begin to feel as though you are decoding a secret language, one that has always been present but is now revealing itself in ways you can finally understand. The spiral of a nautilus shell mirrors the structure of DNA, the formation of hurricanes, and even the arms of galaxies. The symmetry of a honeycomb is the same precision found in the architecture of the New Jerusalem, as described in Revelation 21 verse 16. The city was laid out like a square, as long as it was wide. Its length, width, and height were equal. Even in the sacred texts, these patterns serve as proof that divine intelligence is woven into all creation. You may find yourself inexplicably drawn to certain shapes, triangles, circles, hexagons, or spirals, noticing them appearing repeatedly in your dreams, meditations, or even in your daily surroundings. This is not a coincidence. These symbols have long been used as portals to higher understanding, carrying meanings that transcend language and culture. The circle represents unity, infinity, and wholeness. The triangle signifies transformation and spiritual ascent. The spiral is a reflection of growth, evolution, and the unfolding of divine consciousness. But why are you seeing these patterns now? Because your mind is no longer limited to surface reality. You are beginning to perceive the underlying structure of existence, the way everything is connected, the way numbers, proportions, and sequences govern the movement of the stars, the growth of plants, and even the shape of your own body. This is a sign that you are awakening to the mathematical harmony of creation, realizing that nothing is random, everything follows an intricate, divine blueprint. This newfound awareness also allows you to recognize balance and alignment within yourself. You may begin to sense when your own energy is out of harmony, just as you can see when something in nature is perfectly aligned. The more attuned you become to these patterns, the more effortlessly you align with the natural flow of life. You understand that just as sacred geometry governs the structure of the universe, it also governs your own existence. Your thoughts, emotions, and experiences all follow patterns, and by understanding these patterns, you can begin to shape your reality with greater clarity and intention. Some people report that after awakening to sacred geometry, their intuition heightens. They begin to perceive connections between seemingly unrelated things, understanding how everything is part of a greater whole. They see how events in their lives are intricately woven together, much like the geometric patterns they have begun to notice. This awareness brings a deep sense of peace, knowing that everything is unfolding according to divine order. If you have begun to notice these sacred patterns, it is not by accident. It is an invitation to look deeper, to explore, to see how the universe speaks through numbers, symbols, and proportions. Pay attention to what calls to you, whether it is the precise angles of a crystal, the ancient geometric symbols in sacred texts, or the recurring patterns in nature. Each one carries a message, and by studying them, you gain insight into the mind of the Creator. This is a sacred milestone in your journey. Recognizing the presence of divine order all around you is confirmation that you are moving closer to truth, closer to unity, closer to the source of all things. When you see these patterns, know that they are a gift, a reminder that the universe is not chaos, but harmony, a grand, intelligent, divine masterpiece, and you are a part of it. 7. The integration of shadow and light. The most profound realization on your spiritual journey comes when you no longer reject any part of yourself, light or darkness, but instead embrace them both as necessary elements of your evolution. This is not merely a moment of insight, but a complete transformation in the way you see yourself, your past, and your path forward. At the beginning of your awakening, you may have believed that spiritual growth meant moving away from pain, escaping suffering, and stepping fully into the light. You may have viewed darkness as something to be conquered, an enemy to be eliminated. But as you have evolved, you have come to understand something far more profound: the light cannot exist without the dark. They are not separate forces at war with one another, but two aspects of the same divine process. You have now reached a place where you no longer run from your wounds, your fears, or the shadows that once haunted you. Instead, you sit with them. You listen to them. And in doing so, you transform them. What once felt like a heavy burden now becomes a source of wisdom. What once filled you with shame now becomes a source of power. Every struggle, every sorrow, every moment of suffering was not a punishment, it was a lesson, a teacher, a sculptor shaping you into who you were always meant to be. This is the sacred process of integration. You now understand that your past pain was never separate from your light, it was the very thing that helped you find it. Every hardship was an initiation, every wound a gateway, every moment of despair an invitation to discover your true strength. You no longer see yourself as someone who overcame darkness, you see yourself as someone who walked through it, learned from it, and emerged whole. This is the very essence of John 1 verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. The darkness was never something to be feared, it was simply a part of the journey. The fact that you have walked through it, survived it, and emerged from it is proof that the darkness never had true power over you. It was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal the strength of your light. Think back to the moments in your life when you were at your lowest. The times when you thought you would not make it through. The nights when you felt abandoned, lost, disconnected. At the time, it felt like an endless abyss. But now, looking back, you see that those were the very moments that led you here. Every tear, every heartbreak, every challenge planted a seed inside you. And now, that seed has grown into wisdom, into resilience, into a version of you that is far stronger than the one who first entered the darkness. This realization brings profound peace. You are no longer at war with yourself. You no longer reject parts of your past or wish things had happened differently. You no longer divide your experiences into good and bad, you simply see them as part of the same grand design, each moment necessary for your unfolding. The light and the shadow are not enemies, they are dance partners, creating the beautiful contrast that makes life meaningful. This is where true spiritual mastery begins. Many people seek to only dwell in the light, ignoring or suppressing the darker parts of themselves. But true wisdom does not come from avoidance. It comes from alchemy, the ability to take what was once heavy and transform it into something sacred. You have now stepped into this higher state of being. You do not fear struggle because you understand its purpose. You do not resist pain because you know it carries lessons. You do not deny your past because you see how it has led to your growth. This shift in perspective changes everything. It changes how you see yourself, how you interact with others, how you navigate challenges. You no longer react with fear, but with understanding. You no longer see hardships as punishments, but as opportunities for evolution. When difficulties arise, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you now ask, "What is this teaching me?" You begin to integrate this wisdom not just in your thoughts, but in your actions. You become more compassionate toward yourself and others, recognizing that everyone is carrying their own blend of light and shadow. You no longer judge people harshly, because you understand that they too are navigating their own journey of integration. You hold space for their pain, just as you have learned to hold space for your own. There is a reason why some of the most enlightened souls, the mystics, the sages, the great teachers, speak not only of light but also of suffering. Because they understand that true enlightenment is not about escaping the dark, but about walking through it and emerging with wisdom. They, too, face their shadows. They, too, learn that darkness is not the absence of light, but the very thing that helps us recognize it. And now, you are one of them. You have reached the point where you no longer try to erase the darkness, but instead, use it as a tool for your evolution. You have woven together every experience, both light and shadow, into a story of transformation. You have stepped beyond the illusion of duality, realizing that everything, every sorrow, every joy, every challenge, is part of a greater wholeness. This is why, as you continue forward, you no longer fear what is to come. Because you know that no matter what happens, you will meet it with strength. You will take the lessons life gives you and use them as fuel for growth. You will face every shadow with the confidence that it, too, has something to teach you. You will walk through darkness knowing that the light inside you is unshakable, eternal, and divine. You are whole. You are powerful. You are free. You have walked through darkness, but you were never lost. You have faced the trials of the soul, but they did not break you. Instead, they shaped you, refined you, and led you to a greater understanding of yourself and the universe. These 7 sacred signs are not just proof of your survival, they are proof of your transformation. They are evidence that you have not merely endured but thrived, emerging with a depth of wisdom, clarity, and strength that few ever attain. Each of these signs, the resonance of sacred silence, the nonlinear perception of time, the quantum leaps in consciousness, the alchemy of suffering into creativity, the synchronicities that guide you, the unveiling of sacred geometry, and the integration of shadow and light, serves as a marker on your journey. They are not random occurrences but divine confirmations, whispers from the universe reminding you that you are exactly where you are meant to be. But this journey does not end here. Awakening is not a destination, it is a continuous unfolding. The path ahead is still revealing itself, and each step will bring new lessons, new insights, and new transformations. Some days will feel effortless, filled with the presence of light and clarity. Other days will challenge you, asking you to once again step into the unknown, to embrace growth even when it feels uncomfortable. But through it all, you are never alone. The universe is always speaking to you. Through signs, through intuition, through moments of stillness and revelation. Trust that you are guided. Trust that every experience is part of the divine orchestration of your life. Now, take a moment to reflect. Which of these signs have you experienced? Which ones resonate most deeply with your soul? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your journey may inspire and affirm someone else's. Let us create a space where we can grow together, where our shared experiences become stepping stones for others walking the same path. And if this message has spoken to you, if you have felt the truth of these words deep within your being, subscribe to this channel. There is so much more to explore, so many more mysteries to uncover. This is just the beginning of something greater, a journey that we will continue together. Finally, if you know someone who is also navigating their spiritual awakening, share this video with them. Sometimes, all it takes is a single message at the right moment to remind someone that they are not alone, that their struggles have meaning, and that they, too, are transforming in ways beyond what they can yet see. You are seen. You are guided. You are evolving. Keep going.